Disgusting! Priscilla's husband slapped her across the face in front of the party guests. Her plea was desperate. I've had a miscarriage. Please, take me to the hospital. But her sister, Larissa, stepped forward, eyes glistening with false sorrow. Stop lying, sister. You just can't stand to see me happy, can you? The crowd turned on Priscilla, their stares like knives. She was shoved to the ground, bleeding, and still, no one believed her. When the party was over, her husband finally came, impatient. Come on. I'll take you to the hospital. Priscilla pushed him away. Get out. You are no longer my husband. I'll take everything from you, your family's love, your husband's loyalty, and you'll end up with nothing. Larissa Wilburn, Priscilla Wilburn's sister, declared confidently, and she did it. Priscilla became the sister her twin brother Claude Wilburn resented, and the wife Wesley Carlton despised. On the night of Larissa's birthday, Priscilla miscarried. Nobody noticed or simply cared. Priscilla stared blankly at the harsh white light above her head and the floor bag dripping clear fluid. The ward door creaked open, and a slightly tired male voice broke the silence. Honey, what happened? An hour ago, she was wheeled out of the OR. Under the nurse's pitying gaze, she borrowed a phone to text Wesley, asking him to come and cover her medical bills when available. Finally, he arrived immaculate in a crisp white shirt, his handsome features marred only by faint traces of exhaustion. She turned her face away, the corners of her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Are you feeling unwell? He asked as he sat down by her bedside, his expression as distant as ever. He rushed over as soon as he saw her text, clueless to the brutal suffering she had endured. All of a sudden, a sharp ache twisted in her chest. If she hadn't seen how gently he treated someone else, if she hadn't almost died on that rainy night, she might have believed he was born this cold. The smell of alcohol on him turned her stomach. My phone broke. Could you please cover my medical bills? She rasped, her voice raw from exhaustion. She planned to tell him the rest after the pain eased a bit. Wesley caught the faint thread of aversion in her tone. He arched an eyebrow, slightly displeased. Today is Larissa's birthday. Where were you? Priscilla's gaze remained fixed on the ceiling. Of course, she knew it was Larissa's birthday. She even knew they had thrown Larissa a lavish celebration. Her family and husband spent almost the entire evening celebrating for Larissa, so absorbed that Priscilla couldn't even reach them when she was in excruciating pain. I had to deal with something, she said, her tone flat. Wesley knitted his brows, his tone irritated. Seriously? Today? Of all days? What could possibly be more important? His sharp words cut deeper than the pain in her body. He knew nothing. He didn't know she had been robbed, let alone that she had lost their baby. Her anger flared as she snapped. Wesley, are you implying I got myself hospitalized on purpose? The silence that followed stretched endlessly, thick and suffocating. Just one look into Wesley's deep, inscrutable eyes, she read the unspoken confirmation. Her heart sank to the bottom as she curved her lips self-mockingly. 3 years of marriage, and this was how he saw her. Sensing the argument brewing, Wesley stood up. I'll go pay the bills. Get some rest. Dr. Thompson is on her way here. Sarah Thompson was an obstetrician. Since becoming pregnant, Priscilla had been under her care. Wesley, do you know? Priscilla suddenly had the urge to tell him about the miscarriage. Priscilla! Just then, a delicate, sweet voice rang out, together with the door opening, cutting her off. Larissa stood there in a pink gown, hair swept into an elegant chignon, a diamond crown glimmering under the light. She looked incredibly radiant, gentle, and adorable. Priscilla, are you okay? She said while walking over to the bed. Priscilla swallowed back her words. The sight of Larissa yanked her back into that freezing, rain-soaked night. Countless unanswered calls, the slow creep of death, and the utter despair. A deep hatred immediately washed over her. Yeah, she replied, her voice icy. Larissa's eyes reddened with guilt. I'm sorry, Priscilla. I shouldn't have asked Wes to come to the party. Priscilla closed her eyes. Her body hurt, but it was nothing compared to the exhaustion gnawing at her soul. Chapter 2. Larissa, this had nothing to do with you. Wesley frowned, annoyed by Priscilla's tone. He was certain Priscilla was being intentionally unreasonable. After all, she had never liked the Wilburns, and Larissa, who had just come back, had always been a thorn in her side. It had been only a month since Larissa's return, yet he and Priscilla had already argued several times because of her. Larissa continued, biting her lip. Priscilla, don't be upset. You're pregnant, remember? That's what matters most. I'll keep my distance from Wes from now on. Oh, so, you do remember I'm pregnant? Priscilla curved her lips into a mocking smile. For the past month, Larissa had summoned Wesley away with every excuse imaginable. At this, Larissa's doe, eyes filled with tears, she pursed her lips, an injured look on her face. Larissa, could you give us the room for a second? Let me talk to her, Wesley said gently, as if coaxing a child. Larissa bit her lip and reminded him softly, Wes, don't be too hard on her, alright? She's pregnant with your baby. With that, she walked out reluctantly, glancing back a few times before closing the door. Priscilla looked up at Wesley, her gaze filled with desperation and sadness. Then, she closed her eyes. As Wesley turned back to her, the gentleness he'd shown, Larissa was already gone, replaced by coldness. Priscilla, leave Larissa out of this. She's never done anything wrong. His protective tone cut deep into Priscilla's heart. Their marriage had started as a convenience, but somewhere along the way, she had fallen for him. She used to think he felt the same, until Larissa's return burst her bubble. He saved all his tenderness for Larissa. It had taken Priscilla 3 years to finally understand he had never loved her. Wesley, let's get a divorce. She stared blankly at the poor bag. Though her tone was soft, her resolve was unshakable. In fact, she had thought about it the day Larissa came back. Yet some stubborn part of her still clung to the last shred of hope. Wesley's stern expression softened a little as he thought of something. I know it's just the anger talking. Larissa and I are just friends. Don't get the wrong idea. Priscilla tilted her head, tears slipping silently down her cheeks. As her hand moved to her lower abdomen, she murmured, Wesley, the baby's gone. Wesley didn't hear Priscilla's murmurs. He stood up and walked away with his phone in hand. Larissa's waiting for me outside. I'm going to her. Get some rest. Priscilla, I'll come back later to check on you. He couldn't be bothered to argue with an irrational woman. Priscilla! You gave Larissa a hard time again. Just then, an angry shout erupted as the door slammed against the wall, the crash particularly jarring. A tall, slender man stormed in, his face, strikingly similar to Priscilla's, twisted in anger. As his gaze fell upon her pale face, he was slightly stunned. But soon, his questioning voice rang out again, even sterner this time. You know today's Larissa's birthday, and you got sick in the middle of the night? Gosh, Priscilla, you're such a cunning bitch. He glared at Larissa in bed, his gaze burning with rage. What the fuck is your problem? Are you enjoying yourself? Screwing with us? Do you ever see us as family? He was so certain that Priscilla had pretended to be sick to ruin Larissa's birthday party. Priscilla clenched her fists. Here she was, lying in the hospital bed, enduring excruciating pain. Yet Claude, her brother, was hurling curses at her. Grief and despair consumed her. Do you think I chose to fall sick today? She retorted coldly, her hoarse voice laced with sarcasm. The disgust and impatience in Claude's eyes were undisguised. Fine. Forget about your so-called illness. Answer me. Larissa was trying to be nice, coming here to check on you. Why did you make her cry? Chapter 3. Before entering the ward, he saw Larissa in a corner, wiping away her tears. Who else could have made her cry but Priscilla? It was so typical of Priscilla. She always spewed venom, acting all bitter, as if everyone owed her. Hearing his words, Priscilla looked behind Claude and saw Larissa, who was crying pitifully. Claude, don't blame Priscilla. It had nothing to do with her. I got something in my eye. That's all. Her explanation further enraged Claude. He furrowed his brows even more tightly. Priscilla, enough with your dirty schemes. Hear me, clearly, the Wilburn family doesn't owe you anything, especially not Larissa. Claude, say no more. Priscilla's pregnant. Larissa tugged at his arm. Besides, it was my fault. I knew she was pregnant, yet I still insisted Wes celebrate my birthday. She's hospitalized because of me. Saying this, she started to cry again, trying her best not to snap. Priscilla clenched her fists so tightly that her nails dug into her palms. She didn't want to argue. It'd only piss her off even more. But Claude still wouldn't let go. Yeah, she's pregnant. So what? That doesn't mean we have to put up with all her unreasonable demands. That's enough. Wesley frowned. Though he agreed that Priscilla was being unreasonable, Claude's words were uncalled for. Claude's resentment toward Priscilla was undisguised. He scoffed, his voice dripping with malice. Just wait and see. Faking an illness is just her first step. Next, she'll be using the baby as leverage. She's such an unreasonable, scheming bitch. I weep for her baby. Priscilla had thought Wesley's distrust shattered her heart, but Claude's words plunged her even deeper into despair. Trembling in anger, she grabbed a pillow, hurled at a Claude with all her might, and snarled desperately, "Get out." Tears streamed down her eyes, filled with devastation. She had never believed Claude could be a good brother, but still, he shouldn't have said this. Claude knocked the pillow aside. Blinded by fury, he bellowed, "Did I say anything wrong? You vicious bitch, using your baby to fake an illness before it's even born. Maybe you want it to die inside you." His words were nothing but venomous. I said, "Enough, Claude." Wesley frowned and glanced at Claude deeply. He was displeased by how unreasonable Priscilla was. But, at the end of the day, she was his wife. Didn't you hear me? Get out? Priscilla's eyes turned bloodshot. She scrambled off the bed, hurling everything within reach at Claude, glaring at him as if he were her sworn enemy. Wesley swiftly caught her wrist and yanked her toward him, his deep frown revealing his irritation. "Priscilla, enough of your nonsense." She went still at once. Tears rolled down her ghastly pale cheeks quietly, the chilling hatred in her crimson eyes enough to kill. "You get out, too." Her light tone was dripping with sarcasm. "Priscilla." Wesley was genuinely angry, his tone sterner than ever. "Priscilla, calm down. Surely, you don't want to hurt your baby." Larissa came over and tried to steady Priscilla, her charming eyes filled with worry. "Stay away from me." Priscilla pulled her wrist away from Wesley's grip and shoved Larissa away. She swung her hand too far, which accidentally landed on the back of Larissa's hand. Larissa let out a small cry, clutching her hand. "Priscilla." Claude was seething with rage, looking as if he wanted to tear Priscilla into pieces. "Larissa just wanted to help." "And you hit her? Apologize to her?" Now, a searing pain made Priscilla's body tremble slightly, her forehead drenched in sweat. She bit her lip hard, stifling any sound of pain. It wasn't Priscilla's fault. "I should have been more careful," Larissa said pitifully, her doe-like eyes glistening with tears. "Wes? Aren't you gonna do something?" Claude's gaze swept from Priscilla's stubborn face to Wesley,